Ever wondered what triggered one of the most devastating economic downturns in the history of the Western industrialized world? Our tale begins in the Roaring Twenties, an era marked by prosperity and optimism. This was a time when the economy was booming and the stock market appeared to be the quickest route to riches. But beneath this prosperity lurked a dangerous bubble. The stock market, inflated beyond its actual value, was a house of cards waiting to collapse. And in October 1929 it did exactly that. The Wall Street crash sent shockwaves around the globe, triggering widespread panic. Banks, having heavily invested in the stock market, found themselves in dire straits. Many failed, wiping out people's savings overnight. Confidence in the economy was shattered. The dominoes had started to fall, and the world was on the precipice of a major economic downturn. And just like that, the world was plunged into an economic darkness known as the Great Depression. Imagine waking up one day to find all you've worked for gone. This was the reality for millions during the 1930s. A time when the world was gripped by the Great Depression, a period of extreme economic downturn that sent shockwaves across the globe. Everyday life was a struggle for survival. High unemployment rates soared as businesses failed, leaving families without a steady income. Poverty was rampant. Breadlines and soup kitchens became the norm, as many found themselves unable to afford even the most basic necessities. Parents went without so their children could eat, and even then, it was often not enough. The agricultural sector, too, was not spared. The Dust Bowl, a severe environmental disaster, swept across the Great Plains, turning once fertile lands into barren wastelands. This, coupled with falling crop prices, pushed many farmers to the brink of bankruptcy. But the Great Depression wasn't just an American crisis. It was a global one. Countries reliant on American investments and trade were also severely impacted. From Europe to Asia, societies grappled with the same harsh realities: rising unemployment, shrinking economies, and widespread despair. Through these hardships, people showed resilience, ingenuity, and a spirit of community. They shared what little they had, bartered goods and services, and supported each other as best they could. But the scars of the era ran deep, and for many, the 1930s would forever remain a haunting memory. The 1930s were indeed a decade of despair, a time when hope seemed like a distant star. In the midst of despair, the human spirit fights back. So how did the world recover from this economic catastrophe? The answer lies in the bold and decisive actions taken by governments worldwide. In the United States, President Franklin D. Roosevelt implemented a series of programs, collectively known as the New Deal, to restore hope and rejuvenate the economy. From creating jobs in public works to regulating the banks, the New Deal was a beacon of hope in the dark days of the Depression. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, European nations were also taking steps to revive their economies. These efforts, though fraught with challenges, slowly but surely began to yield results. Yet, it was the onset of World War II that played a pivotal role in ending the Great Depression. The war stimulated economic production, driving employment and industry to unprecedented heights. It was a long and arduous journey, but humanity eventually emerged from the shadows of the Great Depression. The Great Depression, a time of hardship, struggle, and eventual recovery, started with the crash of '29, leading to a decade of despair. '30s, a period of breadlines and dust storms, joblessness and poverty. But it wasn't all gloom and doom. We saw resilience, recovery, and reform as the New Deal offered hope and relief. Important chapter in our history, the Great Depression serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of economic systems and the resilience of the human spirit.